Another one from Smart Ivy says interview tips. I'll have to do a separate video on that. My biggest thing is be yourself. I think that's what the interview is used for. You try not to be nervous. I know it's hard, of course I was nervous, but smile, be sincere, answer your questions as honestly as possible. Of course, shake their hand, look them in the eye. I mean, basic stuff. And what helped me as an undergrad, we had a place at our undergrad where you could go and do mock interviews, and that was helpful to give you tips. So if you were able to do that, I would say do that. Is John on any intramural sports teams? He did during first and second year when we were actually on campus. He did play. It wasn't really intramural, but it was like a local was it flag football team he did, and he did that I think second year. And then we also have the malpractice bowl, which we play against the pre-law people in town, a flag football team. I even played on that my first year with the girls team, and John's played first and second year on the guys team. Other than that, he did not do intramural sports. How do you guys stay active or keep romance in your marriage when you both travel so much? Staying active is a challenge that I've definitely found with medical school. I have gained over 20 pounds between the beginning of medical school and just 6 months ago, like towards the end of medical school, with that being 15 pounds from third year and fourth year. And I was getting to the point where my clinic clothes were not fitting, and I'm like, okay, this needs to change. I do not have the money to buy new clothes, nor do I want to buy new clothes. And so I got my butt into action, and for me it was eating. Eating healthily was something I was not doing very well. Once I changed that in January, I started counting my calories, and I used I think my FitnessPal app. That really helped me. And then also just staying active, I hate running. I kind of hate working out, but I love going for walks. I'd rather spend an hour walking than 20 minutes jogging. So that's what I did. I spent 45 minutes to an hour every day. Fourth year, again, is a lot easier than third year because I'm not studying as much, doing that. And then also just recently, back in December, John's family got all Fitbits, and so we've been wearing that, trying to get our 10,000 steps in every day. And that's been a huge I guess like it's been encouraging me to, it wasn't December, it must have been like in February or something. It's really encouraged me to be a lot more active. And then I've been trying to do yoga every day for 20 minutes, and I'm doing like this abs thing. So right now I'm in kind of this active/healthy crunch, and I have lost 10 pounds, so I'm almost halfway down from when I started medical school. Keep romance in your marriage. That has been tricky. Our first and second year we were together like inseparable, 24/7, same classes, same labs, same everything. But there it even was hard because we spent so much time studying. So even though we were together, we weren't really spending quality time together. And so we would try to do date night once a week, or just a certain set period of time where during these 4 hours this week, like, we're not going to be studying, we're not going to be focusing on something else, like we're going to be doing something together. So if that was going to the farmer's market and just, not trying to get a list of stuff done, but just enjoying it with each other. We go out to dinner. We would try to do cheap stuff, or like get a Netflix movie or Redbox and watch that and play a game. So that's what we did during first and second year. Third year and fourth year has been hard. I think we've only spent like 4 or 5 months together out of the past 48 months. And we're separated. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for 3 to 4 weeks at a time. During fourth year, during our sub-Is, we were always together. And then recently, we haven't been in the same place, but we've been able to see each other at least every week or every other weekend. And that really helps. We have FaceTime on our phones, and so if you're on Wi-Fi, it doesn't use your data, and so we'll FaceTime each other. So like just last night, even though I wasn't doing much, I just had him on FaceTime, and I was doing things online and figuring out some banking thing, and even though it wasn't like quality time together, it was still nice to pretend like we were in the same room with each other. Another thing that we've picked up, advice from, I don't know where we got it from, if it was, I don't know, but we heard about checking in with each other. And so every morning he'll text me, good morning, have a fantastic day, I love you, and then I'll respond back. He's usually better at doing that first. If I don't hear anything from him, like obviously I just text that to him, and then when the day's done, I'm usually the one to text, hey, how was your day? Hope it was awesome, talk to you tonight or something, and then he'll usually respond, and then we do try to talk to each other every night. But I am looking forward to living with my husband. We get to start doing that, I think, this weekend, starting Monday for sure. So I hopefully get to live with him for the rest of my life. I don't have to do any more of this moving. Yeah. Then did I say that wrong before? Jemima Royer. Did they ask another question? Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I mispronounced that the very first time. Says, when you go to a DO school, is it harder to get a job as an emergency medicine physician? I am not 100% sure, but I have friends who are going into emergency medicine and they matched at their top place and they had no problem matching into emergency medicine through my school. So I don't know. That would be a good question maybe for the schools to ask, maybe on the stats, but I don't feel, again, I went to primary care, so maybe it's not as hard as other things, but I did not feel any DO, MD issues at all during any of my interviews at any of the places that I looked at for residency. What do you think about Obamacare? I hate to say this, but I don't know exactly a ton about Obamacare. They don't really have a class on Obamacare in med school. You just kind of pick up tidbits from here and there. I'm not sure what I think about it yet. It's going to be interesting. I know a lot of docs are struggling trying to implement things, and change is always hard, and even EHRs, like, oh my goodness, you always hear them talking and having issues with that. So I'm not sure yet. The jury is out. I don't know. And then, can you do a husband tag? Yes, I will once we get to be together, and I have to find one online or something. All right, Jay Browsingjay. I don't know, I probably said that wrong. I can't think of any questions now. Okay, they just said they are very helpful, and thanks for making them. No problem. Oh, and more about undergraduate experience. Yeah, I should probably make another video, or I should make a video about that. Casey Barista asks, one more question. Do admissions look down on you for being a transfer from a community college to university, or for studying at less known universities or schools? Or is it more about what you do in your school or university? That's a hard one for me. I think I would advise you to ask the admissions at the schools you are interested in. I went to an undergraduate for my 4 years, and it was a reputable one that was, I think, well known for pre-med. So I think that set me off on the right foot. And I think my GPA being more average, maybe going to the school I went to, I think was maybe a little bit more favored than if that GPA was at, a community college or another university. That's what they told me. I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer that question, but for sure what you do in your school and university, I think plays a large role too. One Smart Ivy asks, if you could go back in time during any 3 periods of your life, what advice would you give yourself? Could be related to med school, marriage, extracurricular. Oh my goodness, that is a good question. That's a deep question, and I'd not prepped myself on these questions before attacking them. I can only think of one right now. I'm sorry, I'm kind of copping out on this question. Maybe I'll answer it in another one, but advice, I think during high school I was very unsure of myself, kind of very insecure. I was not a cool or popular kid by any means, and I don't know, I think I had a lot of self-doubt and insecurities, and I wish I would have, because I don't think I've changed really at all in the sense of like who I am as a person, but I've definitely embraced who I am, and I've enjoyed it, and it's okay being different. If I didn't like a certain style of clothes, if people always joke like, oh, you kind of wear grandma clothes, and I'm like, I love it, or oh gosh, you drive the speed limit, that's so nerdy. I'm like, oh, so what? I've learned to not care what other people think about me, and that was, again, I heard that in high school. It was advice I was given in high school, but I don't think I fully embraced it towards even the end of undergrad and in my 20s. So I guess that's something I've thought about. Mabel asks, did you take pre-med in college? If so, how was it? Pre-med was not a major in my college. I did biology, and then I did neuroscience and biomedical studies. And pre-med is more what I consider the classes you have to take to get into medical school and to take the MCAT. So those are your biologies, your physics, your organic chemistry, and there's a ton of other classes, but that's kind of what I consider pre-med. I think some schools may have a pre-med major, but again, I went to a small liberal arts school that did not have all those majors, so I thought it was fine. It was a lot of science, and I tried to break that up. I did like family studies, I did some psych classes, which I really enjoyed. I did some religion courses, so I changed it up. I love science, don't get me wrong, but I also love other things too. So Redwill 18 writes, letters of recommendation, do they just have to be from doctors? For my match and for Eris, yes, I think they actually do have to all be from physicians. For applying to medical school, they do not have to be from doctors. My school was, or my letters of recommendations were a little bit different, a unique situation. My undergrad had a committee that sent a packet of like an overall letter of recommendation and ranking, I think, or not ranking, but I don't know, something. They somehow sent like this package. Okay, start over. So if you were applying to medical school, what you did at our school is that you had to get letters of recommendation, and these were from professors. I did have some from doctors. I worked as a scribe, so the emergency physician filled one out for me. I worked in admissions at my undergraduate, so they wrote one for me. I think people I nannied and babysat wrote one for me. I can't even remember, but all those then went to this committee at my undergrad, and they reviewed them, and then we had to do an interview with them, and it was kind of like pre-application. It like kind of got you in the mindset of applying to medical school, because you had to like pretty much apply for this, and then they wrote like an overall committee letter, and that is what then was sent to the medical schools. So also had some other ones. Like one medical school I applied to wanted a rural physician, so I had a rural physician that I had shadowed write me a letter of recommendation, and I think most, if not all, DO schools want you to have a osteopathic physician write you a letter of recommendation, so I had that as well. Yep, I think that answers that one. Then One Smart Ivy writes again, how should you study for your classes year 1 and 2 to do well on weekly exams and mark questions or sections to review for step exams? This one I've learned everybody is different. Everybody learns differently. Even if you ask John and I, we study very differently. You take all 220 people in our class, and there's 220 some ways to study. So that one's hard. I think if you watch my day in the life of a second-year med student, I show kind of how I study, and it took me until second year to figure out how I effectively and efficiently studied. So I think basic advice, stay on top of it, know how you study, and review. Also have someone ask questions, and I don't know, it was helpful for me when I was studying for the board exams to do questions. That was very helpful. All right, One Smart Ivy asks again, I see you have to travel a ton for clerkships. If any of your classmates have children or single parents, how do they deal with that? So I think overall our school's not in the norm that quite a few people do have to travel a lot, but there are some that are in like the city all year round, and some places people went to different sites all year round, so they have an apartment and they have kids and a husband or a wife, like they all moved there and they lived in a house, they bought a house or rented a house or had an apartment, and that's where they were for that full year. I wanted to do small town medicine. It was just better for me, better how I learned. I loved the experience, so I was okay traveling and actually kind of wanted to. And so some of my classmates do have children, and they've gotten, I think, by fine. Fourth year was a little bit more interesting for them. We had one of my classmates had a baby at the very beginning of third year, and she was able to stay in town for a majority of her rotations, and our child went to daycare, and She was able to do that, but during 4th year, I remember it was trickier because when you do your sub-internships, the residency programs you're looking for can be like all over the country. And I know she had to travel to a different a state for a full month, and she had to be away from her child. Gosh, that'd be a good question. I should ask her and see if she wants to actually come and answer some of those questions as a video. One smart IBS again, how does your school help your class prepare for STEP exams, or do they? Our school during 2nd year, we had a Kaplan professor come in and talk about how to study, and then they talked about some of the, I think, like behavioral science stuff. We just kind of reviewed that, some of the bread and butter things on the exams. He came in and talked to, did a lecture. It was like a full, I think, Saturday and Friday evening, and it's all a blur. It was during, I think, January or February of 2nd year. And then also we were all enrolled in Kaplan. So we had Kaplan, Comlex, and USMLE question banks, and we had access to their lectures, and then also we had like live lectures. John did those. I did not do those. And then I did DIT, and so did John, but that was something we purchased on our own. But for our classes, I think just the class in general helped. I mean, obviously the stuff you learn in first 2 years of medical school is what's going to be on your exam. So just, I think them teaching well and doing well on those exams help you prepare. But then they helped you out a lot. Excuse me. Our school helped us out a lot 2nd year then with the Kaplan course. And I think we got to vote on. I think there were 3 different ones we got to vote on, and I think our school picked Kaplan. Excuse me. So, and then Super Delta writes sociopath. Well, that's not really a question or very helpful. So, anyways, that wraps it up. There's a super long video. I might have to cut that into normal size because it is an hour-long video. So, I don't even know if this will be put on since it's so long. I'll have to chop it up or something. Alright, anyways, thanks for your questions. Hope I answered them all. Bye!